So whether you're new to crypto or you've been around the block a few times, uncovering new investment opportunities is something we're all looking for. I mean, especially when we hear about a coin going parabolic and people on social media, or maybe even people we know, start posting about their 10x or 20x gains. I mean, a big fat dose of FOMO definitely begins to set in. But the questions that always come up are, how did they know about that coin, and how can I know for next time? So in this video, you'll get a chance to see how I approach researching potential crypto investments. I'm going to unpack how you can find a variety of hidden gems and how you can investigate to determine if the coin is worth your while. And my hope is that with a few research techniques under your belt, you'll be able to increase the value of your portfolio. And if any value is found in this video for you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance, and let's go. So my first crypto investment was actually inspired by a tip I received from a friend of mine. I mean, within a few days, I began to see some gains, and just like a fiend taking a hit for the first time, I was hooked. I wanted another taste of those sweet, sweet, luscious returns. But, that's what really began my journey into crypto research. And over time, I've been able to develop a framework for uncovering new coins that I want to share with you today. But before we jump into it, I want to say that I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Everything I'm going to share with you is for entertainment purposes only. Great, so let's jump into it. So my approach to researching new crypto investments are comprised of two phases. You have the hunting phase and the analysis phase. Although both take a little time to complete, the effort is actually really simple. So let's start with phase one, hunting. So when searching for new coins, I use a variety of sources, and over time they have all proven to be quite equal in value. I generally like to begin with social media. So for me, I have found that YouTube and Twitter seem to be my biggest resource, although I'm sure there's good information on all the other platforms out there as well. So on YouTube, I have a list of trusted influencers I like to follow because over time, they have shown that their goal is to deliver value and not just show me their junk projects. So for you, you'll want to find your own list of YouTube influencers, but a few that I can share that I like are JR&Y Crypto, Sheldon Evans, the Coin Bureau, and Digital Asset News. And let me just say, there are so many more great channels out there. You just have to go out and discover them for yourself. But the guys I just mentioned provide valuable content and consistently put out videos, which is important in crypto because, pertinent information can peak at any moment. So besides YouTube, there's Twitter, and, information flows very quickly on Twitter. I mean, you can come across a hidden gem before influencers even have a time to create a video around it. So I follow all of the YouTube influencers I mentioned, but in addition, I follow many others like, there's Benjamin Cohen and Alex Mashinsky. So just like on YouTube, the accounts I follow on Twitter will mention updates in the market as well as developments on specific projects. But a few pro hints that I've learned along the way that I want to share with you are the following. So number one, if you find a valuable Twitter account, check out who they're following. So like, people with bigger audiences tend to follow other valuable accounts. And I've discovered some really great resources just simply checking out like who other people follow. So number two, besides influencers, follow the projects you're interested in and the founders of those projects. So for example, like if you wanted to invest in Ethereum, follow their Twitter account and Vitalik's Twitter account as well. This has helped me tremendously because not only do you know what's going on with the project, which, can help you make very important decisions, these accounts will also talk about general crypto developments that can help you get ahead of the herd. So number three, check out what your favorite Twitter accounts like. Now, this is big. I mean, like this has been so huge for me. So I discovered that even though influencers may post about certain projects they're interested in, they're even more likely to engage with content that comes from the project's Twitter account or other people posting about the project. So, for example, I came across a small altcoin called D-Race. I picked it up for around 80 cents, and at one point it was just below $4. I mean, you can do the math on that. The way I discovered this coin was by looking at what a particular influencer liked on his account. I mean, he never posted about it. He just liked the post, and that action put them on my radar. So this method is very, very powerful for uncovering hot coins before they pump. Now, as I mentioned, I mainly use Twitter and YouTube for uncovering new crypto investments. However, the conversation is being held everywhere. So utilize the platforms that work best for you and apply the same tips I just shared to get the most out of your efforts. So another area I tap into to uncover new crypto opportunities is crypto news. So there are sites like CoinDesk and Cointelegraph that are niche specific and only report on crypto related news. Now, what I'm looking for when I peruse these sites are headlines and stories that can affect the market in a positive or negative manner. Like, for example, when China banned Bitcoin and miners were forced to move their operation to other parts of the world. I mean, this was like really, really big news, not because it would end Bitcoin. No, not at all. No. But because like what we saw, it took miners some time to relocate their operation, and that caused a temporary dip in the price. So looking for stories that highlight major moves, major partnerships, or even major launches that are happening in the market can position you to take advantage of a pump or avoid getting dumped on. So another type of news I use to find hidden gems are crypto calendar sites. So I use a site called coinmarketcal.com to learn about upcoming project events. So like, for example, when a coin's going to hit a major exchange like Coinbase, a lot of times a pump happens. And this is because Coinbase has a ton of users that only like to buy through their exchange. So when a new coin is available and, it's desirable, people jump on it. So knowing about project events can be very, very profitable, and coinmarketcal.com is a really great resource. So another calendar that I like to access is CoinMarketCap's ICO calendar. Now, ICO, just in case you don't know, ICO stands for Initial Coin Offering. And just like the name indicates, an ICO is the first time the public can get their hands on a coin. Now, in the US, participating in ICOs are a bit of a challenge. So there's some that will just be unavailable. But if you can jump on an ICO for a credible project, many times you'll see some lovely, lovely gains. Now, I know like ICOs can be sort of tricky at times. So even if you don't participate, you can still use the calendar to track new coins to see if they're a viable investment for the future. So once you come across a coin that piques your interest, your next step is to enter into the analysis phase. In the analysis phase, you want to take a close look at some key points that I'm going to share in just a moment to make sure that the coin is worth your investment. Now, let me preface this by saying that there are many ways to approach this. There are, very complex and very simple ways to go about it. So I take a more simple approach, and so that's what I'm going to share with you today. Also, I'm going to review some points that I use, but as we go through it, you'll need to determine how it fits into your overall investment strategy. So my first step is to look at a project through 3 main points. Point number 1, the what, or what problem is the project looking to solve? Number 2, the team, or who is connected to the project? And number 3, the tokenomics, or what is the token used for? So For example, let's say I were interested in Chainlink, and full disclosure, I do own Chainlink. I'm not telling you to go out and buy anything. I'm just using this as an example. But the first question you'd want to ask yourself is, what do they do? So to determine this, I visit their website and CoinMarketCap to get a summary of the problem they're looking to solve. For newer projects, I may check out their white paper, but I try to avoid that if possible because they tend to be like really long and very technical. But to sum it up for you, Chainlink is a decentralized oracle that feeds in real-world data back into the blockchain. So for example, let's say you were going to build an insurance app that uses weather data to determine insurance rates. The oracle would pull the current weather, let's say sunny and 85 degrees, from an outside source and then securely bring the data back to the blockchain. I mean, as you can imagine, this piece of technology is pivotal to the scalability of blockchain. And that's probably why Chainlink is included in just about every project that exists right now. Big, I know. Again, the main question you want to ask yourself is, do you believe in what the project is trying to accomplish? And if there are competitors out there, why is this project different? So the next point I look at is the team. Who is connected to the project and can they deliver? So I'll still use their website and CoinMarketCap to capture this information. But in addition, I may check out the founder's LinkedIn profile as well. So I began doing this because when I first started out in crypto, I came across a project that I believe was a scam. I never invested in it, but what deterred me was seeing the project's about page on their website. So all of the founders had these like digital characters for their profile photos. And I know, like we live in a day and age where using a digital avatar as your profile pic is more than common. So the avatars alone were not a problem for me, but it was enough to prompt me to look at their LinkedIn profiles. And I'm glad I did. Of the ones who actually had a profile, their info was either incomplete or missing altogether. Not a good look. Again, I'm not measuring someone's ability by their competence to work a LinkedIn profile, but if I'm unable to find some type of track record, it could be a great project and all, but unfortunately, they will not be getting any kind of investment from me. But on the flip side, if you dive into the founders of Chainlink, you'll find two guys that have been a part of other relevant startups, which I like because this communicates experience to me. Okay, so the last point I look at is the usefulness of the token. This is important because it gives me some level of insight to the token's growth potential. I use the project's website, but I tend to lean more on CoinMarketCap because of the additional tools on the same page. And for some reason, if I'm still unable to get a strong grasp, I'll Google something like Chainlink tokenomics to find other reputable sources explaining what the token is used for. In the case of Chainlink, the link token is used whenever data is transmitted throughout the network. So as demand for data grows, the value of link will rise with it. I see that as promising. So another area of tokenomics that I look at is at a token's circulating supply. You can find this section by visiting the tokens page on CoinMarketCap. Here, you can see a coin's total supply and current supply and determine if the asset is inflationary or deflationary. I like coins that don't have a tremendously high total supply, so Link with 1 billion tokens is pretty good to me. Also, I like coins that are deflationary, which means that over time, the asset will appreciate instead of depreciate like the US dollar. So when I see that a coin has a maximum supply, meaning there will be no more tokens created once that number is reached, my interest gets piqued because that means there's a deflationary element attached. Again, the main takeaway is how will the token be used, and will that generate demand for the token? Also, how could the current and future supply affect the price? Now, if I run the token through my 3 main points and I still end up satisfied, I generally will follow it up with looking for any pertinent social media chatter. Really, what I'm looking for is to find out what the public is saying about the project. Now, I found this step to be very, very important because in a speculative market like crypto, gains are not fully based on a project's performance. And so that means sentiment, or how the public feels about the project, is a huge driver. So I'll usually begin looking for a post on Twitter. So to you, I recommend checking out the project's own Twitter profile first. Look for things like, are they posting regularly? Do they have anything coming up that they're announcing? If I see a Twitter profile that hasn't been updated in months, I'm out. Next, I'll do a search around the project's name and token ticker. And here, I'm really interested in seeing what other people are saying about the project. I'm also looking at how often the project is being mentioned. Again, my goal is to get an idea if people are feeling positive or if they're feeling negative about any aspect of the project. So another search that I generally like to make is on Reddit. Oftentimes, I can find a subreddit dedicated to a project and can review the discussion that's being held around that project. One thing I really like about Reddit is how at times I can uncover just additional features or known issues that could potentially impact the success of a project. Also, crypto gains are directly connected to the community that supports the project. So a strong community can often communicate strong potential for a token's growth. But what are your thoughts? Do you feel better equipped to go out there and find new crypto investments? Did I miss a resource for either hunting or analyzing a new token? Please let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any questions or if you need me to expand on anything I shared, please leave it in the comments as well. You never know who it may help. And lastly, I would like to thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable to me, and so I'm glad that you stayed to the end of this video. Thank you, and until next time.